How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite aviation channel, and today we are here with another airport update. Of course, this is kind of random. I don't think anybody saw this coming, but today we're doing Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Of course, not the full CLT. I don't have nearly enough space or planes to do the entire CLT, and even if I tried that, I'm pretty sure I would have disappointed a lot of you. So today we're only doing Concourse D and a little bit of Concourse E. Couldn't even do the full Concourse E because that concourse is also pretty big. I do have space for it, but again, not nearly enough aircraft to even try and fit all that space up. So yeah, only part of Concourse E and all of Concourse D today. So today's update is set with, real flights and time frames, all that good stuff. So today it's going to be between 4 to 5 p.m. So all the flights you see are kind of representative of that time frame. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you how I set everything up, and we'll move forward from there. So the setup is pretty simple. I basically got all of Concourse D here. All the gates you see there, those are all Concourse D. There is a small, I think, part that I am missing. Not like gates or anything, but like a small part of the actual structure that should be like right there, like a square part. I'm missing that, I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, all the gates are there for Concourse D. Moving down here to Concourse E, yeah, this is pretty bad. You can see it's actually a lot bigger. Duh, it extends a lot more that way. So actually it's a connector, not a connector, but like the terminal goes out more this way, and crazy stuff. It's a huge concourse. It's the biggest regional aircraft operation in the entire world, actually, Charlotte Concourse E. So this is just a part of it. Don't even worry about this. I clearly have space, and I probably do have enough structures to make the whole thing. Again, not enough gates or planes. I didn't even want to bother with that. So don't worry about this. That's not important. So that's the part of Concourse E, is like gate E1 through E whatever. I don't even know what gate that is, but that's it, literally. So I think it looks pretty fine. Here's a little bit of a more wide shot. So I'll compare it with the Google Maps image. Yeah, it's not the best replica, but I mean the overall idea is there. You can kind of guess that it is supposed to be this part of Charlotte Douglas. I mean, the planes kind of make it a bit more obvious. If the planes weren't there, you might have a bit more trouble guessing. But hey, I mean, let me know what you think of it, and I'm getting messages right now. Sorry about that. But let's go and get started with the aircraft. Hopefully that will make up for the kind of disappointment here. But yeah, let's get started with that. Alright, so we will get started over here at gate D1. Concourse D is actually the international concourse for CLT. All the international arrivals come into this concourse. A bunch of international flights that depart from Charlotte, they can depart from other concourses like American Airlines flights to, the various European flights they have, and other flights to the Caribbean, stuff like that. They can depart from other concourses, but if they arrive, if they're not pre-cleared, they all have to arrive into Concourse D, because this is, I believe, where the customs processing facility is. So it's mostly, international flights you'll see at this concourse, but there are a bunch of domestic flights that do go from here, mainly because I didn't have space to do concourses A, B, and C. I have a bunch of domestic flights going in and out of this concourse as well in this video, so you'll see those when we get there. First, we'll start off again D1 with this American 737-800. This came in from Grand Cayman, Georgetown, Grand Cayman, as flight 301, and it's going to be operating a domestic flight now out to Austin as flight 1860. So that makes sense. They'll come in from an international origin, and then once the passengers get off there, because the plane is already here at the international terminal, they'll just board a domestic flight from this concourse. It makes sense that way if you think about it. So yeah, that's that one going out to Austin. Next, there was another 737-800. This one came in from Montego. Actually, no. This came from Cancun as flight 1157. Be operating flight 1459 out to Baltimore. Next up here at gate D5, and yes, this is D5. The way they number the gates is a bit confusing, but when you think about it, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time it also kind of confuses me. So that's D1 back there, that's D2, this is D3, and then we move into D5 all of a sudden. So basically, if you've been to Concourse D at Charlotte, these three gates are kind of in a separate hall, or like separate section from these gates, if I'm right, because when I went here, I've been through Concourse D a couple of times. These three gates are in kind of a different chord. I don't even know how to explain it, but there's like a bunch of shops and restaurants in the middle here, and then the giant hall of Concourse D, this is kind of what that is. So that's why the gates are numbered a bit differently on this side. I hope that made sense. But so yeah, it's because of that kind of the difference in where these gates are in Concourse D. It kind of explains why they're numbered so weirdly. So D5 here, and then next is D7, then D9, and then similarly on the other side that would be D, 4, 6, 8, etc. So yeah, A321 over here for American Airlines. Let me just check my route sheet because I had it covered up. This one came in from Montego Bay, Jamaica, flight 875. It's going to be operating service out to Dallas, Fort Worth. This flight 1571. Alright, it should be, of course, an A321 with, wingtip fences, not the one with sharklets, but those do come here every now and then, especially after the merger. American's been sending basically everything. You'll see more. Of course, 737s are like everywhere now, in addition to all the former US Airways Airbus planes, but you will see these sharklet planes coming in. Same thing with the A319s. But of course, because it is Charlotte, I should have way more of those like wingtip fence planes like this one, the former US Airways planes. This is the only one that I have right now in the collection, and it's the only one you're going to see in this video, sadly. But this is a new model though. I haven't showed this anywhere else on the channel, so kind of a cool way, kind of a perfect way to actually debut it at an airport update for, an airport that you would see this plane at a lot in real life. So this one here is the American Airlines Airbus A319, and this aircraft is coming from Bermuda, flight 1079. The operating service out to Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina is flight 1164. And then next to that we have 737 MAX 8. These also occasionally come into Charlotte. This one came from JFK's flight 1450, and it's going to go back out to JFK later on. I believe, you might see these coming in from the Caribbean and stuff like that. I actually have not looked into it that much, because a lot of the Caribbean routes are, again, 319s and 321s and 737 800s, but, it's not outlandish to assume that maybe every now and then an 800 might switch to a MAX. So, but these do come in every now and then. So that's going off to JFK. Alright, next up at gate D11 we have the American Airlines 777-200ER making service out to Dublin, Ireland as flight 724. And next to that at gate D13 is another 777-200ER headed out to Madrid, Spain as flight 748. So the 777-200s in Charlotte, it's kind of weird to show them here now, because for the longest time, as you may know, all of the international or long-haul flights out of Charlotte on American were on the Airbus A330s. Of course, back in the US Airways hub days, they were not just A330s, also 767-200s and 757-200s, but more recently, pre-pandemic, they were all Airbus 330-200s and 330-300s. Of course, the A330 fleet got retired early in the pandemic. I should say early for the A330-200s. I'm not too sure when the 300s were supposed to be retired, because I do know even before the pandemic, American was already planning to retire their small fleet of A330-300s early because they were a lot more expensive to maintain, and because, well, that's mainly because they had a different, type of engine. They had the Pratt & Whitney PW4000 engines, while the A330-200s had the Rolls-Royce Trent engines, which were similar to the Trent engines that the 777-200s had. That's why they were planning to keep the 330-200s for a number of years. But again, because the 330-300s had a different type of engine, that's why they were, from the get-go, from the merger, American was planning to get rid of them as soon as possible, I guess. But yeah, long story short, pandemic came, all the 330s got retired, even the 200s, which was surprising for many. But because of those retirements, all the flights out of Charlotte that were previously on the A330s, they were switched to the 777-200s, and that's how it's been since 2020, late 2020, 2021. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's interesting to see how much it's changed Charlotte, the traffic into Charlotte long-haul wise over the years. And it's all 777-200ERs, by the way. You will almost never see the 777-300ER come in. Very, very rarely, though. You might see it, but almost never. I think it's happened maybe once or twice, a few times, that they'll probably bring in a 777-300ER for the London flight. But 99% of the time, dare I say, it's always 777-200ERs operating these long-haul flights to Europe from Charlotte. Alright, here at gate D12 we have the one and only Lufthansa Airbus A340-600, just came in from Munich, Germany as flight 428, Be headed back out to Munich in a few hours as Flight 429. This is probably the one plane that everybody looks forward to seeing at Charlotte, mainly because it's so unique. It's my favorite plane, actually, that flies into Charlotte, again, just because of how unique it is. I mean, this is the only long-haul flight out of Charlotte that's not operated on the American 777-200. And American does fly to Munich themselves on the 777, but where's the fun in that? You know, Lufthansa has their 340 coming in every day, which is really, really cool. Used to be the 350 during the pandemic, but then they switched it back to the 340-600, I believe last year. And it was a 340-600, you know, for years. I believe the route started out on the 340-600, and then even pre-pandemic it was a 340, and then I think during the pandemic was when they temporarily switched it to a 350, and then they just brought back the 340 last year, which is really, really cool. I love the fact that it's back in service to Charlotte. It's super cool. I don't know why. It's just so cool to see the Lufthansa A340-600 in Charlotte. And there is a reason, actually, why this flight exists. If you don't know, Munich is, of course, in the German state of Bavaria, and a very famous automobile manufacturer that's headquartered in Bavaria is none other than BMW, Bavarian Motor Works. So BMW's main headquarters are in Munich, but they also have a big factory somewhere near Charlotte, I believe. Somebody commented one of my videos, one of my trip reports out of Charlotte. BMW has some sort of factory, I think, nearby Charlotte. So this flight exists primarily for the purpose of business. I could assume it's mainly for transporting, you know, business people or employees of BMW between here and Munich or vice versa. Of course, that's not the only reason. You know, Lufthansa has a big worldwide reach, you know, a lot of leisure traffic going out on this flight. Same with the American Airlines flight to Munich. That's not going to Munich, but you get the point. So, yeah, mainly, you know, business and also leisure traffic. That's the two main, you know, groups of people making up this flight. I mean, you could say that for any long-haul flight, but you know, that's the story behind why Lufthansa flies this route to Charlotte, and it's really, really cool. D12 is, I believe, the official Lufthansa gate at Charlotte, and I'm not saying that because, well, it is because I've always seen, I was checking on Flight Radar 24 before this update, this flight seems to just park here all the time, and also because when I was connecting through Concourse D in 2017, it was like 9-10 p.m., so much later than when this flight departs. I believe this flight departs at like 5-6 p.m. So this plane already departed by then, but I was connecting through Concourse D. We departed out of D11 that night, by the way. But I saw all the Lufthansa like boarding group signs kind of lined up next to D12, so I saw them all just sitting, you know, lined up there, which is really cool. I still remember that. Now, unfortunately, out of the various times that I've been through Charlotte, I've actually never seen Lufthansa themselves there. I don't think I have. Long story short, I don't believe I've ever seen Lufthansa in Charlotte before, so I would love to actually just do a quick spotting trip out there one day just to see this plane. It's so cool, Lufthansa A340 in Charlotte, and it comes every day. So yeah, I would love to see this aircraft in Charlotte myself someday. And unfortunately, I mean, I would love to see CLT themselves get more international traffic. They don't get British Airways anymore. BA used to fly here and they stopped flying in the early 2000s. So to bring BA back, that makes a lot of sense, I would think, because, you know, big American Airlines hub, British Airways, they seem to be flying to a lot more US cities, obviously, and Charlotte's not on that list. So it'd be cool to see BA back in Charlotte, but time will tell when they come back. But that's Lufthansa. There you go, 340-600, 428 from Munich, 429 back out to Munich. Alright, next up at what I believe is gate D10, we have the American 737-800 in the Astrojet retro livery. This aircraft came in from Windsor Locks, BDL, Hartford, Bradley, whatever, Connecticut. That's flight 1379, making service onwards out to St. Louis, flight 2937. And next up here we have the One World livery, one of two One World livery, 777-200ERs. This landed earlier from London Heathrow, was flight 733, just getting offloaded there. And that's one of, I believe, 3 daily flights that American has from Charlotte to London, or London to Charlotte, vice versa. Next, oh, look at that, another One World livery, 737-800. This came in from Norfolk, Virginia's flight 2200, headed out to Tulsa, Oklahoma's flight 2662. And then what gate is that? Was that D8, 6, 4? The D4, we have the 737-800, another one. This one has the Eagle logo winglets. And this aircraft is coming in from Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. It's flight 547. And later on making service out to Cleveland, Ohio is flight 1267. Or, yeah, 1267. Alright. And then last mainline aircraft of the update is the Chrome Retro 737-800. This just pushed out of gate D10, where the other retro livery is now. This plane is making service out to Buffalo, New York as flight 2301. Came in from New Orleans as flight 1791. Alright, so next up we've got Concourse E, or the very pathetic depiction of Concourse E that I have here. Would have been much more impressive if I had like triple the amount of planes here right now and also the entire layout, but yeah, this is just a little section of Concourse E that I was able to do. Ironically enough, this is probably my most favorite part of any major American Airlines hub, and that's the regional operations. I always think this is so cool, and honestly, like, ironically enough, I could care less of Delta and United's regional operations. I always find Americans to be the coolest. I don't know why. And it's pretty funny that I'm pointing at a Contour plane and saying this, so sorry. Let me say that again. I really find Americans' regional operations fascinating, more so than United and Delta, ironically enough. But yeah, like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, Charlotte Concourse E is the largest regional aircraft operation anywhere in the world. I think it's like 60-something gates, and well, it was 60-something gates, and then I believe they expanded it, so it's probably even more now. Again, there would be another pier going out this way, and then like kind of like hooks around like that, so it's much bigger than what it is clearly. So we'll start over here. Contour is the other regional airline, well, the other airline flying regional jets into Charlotte, and they also operate out of gates E1 through E3. So these three gates here, this is where they fly from. They fly to a bunch of random small cities. They have a pretty small sizable network from CLT as well. I can't remember all of their destinations, but this ERJ-145 here at gate E1, well, this came in from LWB, what is that? I can't believe I'm searching this up. I should have known what it was. Is it Lewisburg? Okay, that's what I thought. Lewisburg, West Virginia, that's where this came from as flight 3853, and making service out to Staunton, Shenandoah Valley Regional Airport. I think that's also in West Virginia. That's flight 3458. So in addition to these two cities, they also fly to Beckley, West Virginia. I believe they also fly to Parkersburg, which I think is also West Virginia. And they also fly to Paducah in Kentucky, which is pretty random, but they fly there as well. Can't remember where else, but they mainly fly the 135s, especially on the flights I just mentioned. They're 135s, but this here's a 145, but you can't really tell. It's a Contour livery, and those 135s have this livery nonetheless, so but it's pretty cool to have this Contour flight in here. Relatively new model, got this back in June, and I've only been able to showcase it in one other update, one of my O'Hare T5 updates, so cool to showcase that here. Next at gate E2, I've flown out of this gate twice, both to Champaign, but that flight no longer exists, sadly. We have an American Eagle ERJ-145 came in from Blunteville, Tennessee as flight 5881, making service out to New Bern, North Carolina as flight 5859. 5859, oh sorry, 5899, sorry, 5899 to New Bern. E3, we have another Embraer 145, and these are all operated by Piedmont, obviously. This one is making service out to Charlottesville, Virginia as flight 5765. Came in from Jacksonville, not Florida, Jacksonville, North Carolina, OAJ as flight 5977. Gate E4, I believe that is. Another Embraer 145. This aircraft came in from Lynchburg, Virginia as flight 5793, making service out to Fayetteville, North Carolina as flight 5910. Bit of an unrealistic plane for this airport. Well, I mean, the livery is, but the plane is not. American Eagle CRJ-700. This aircraft came in from Charleston, West Virginia as flight 5365, making service out to Akron, Canton, Ohio as flight 5155. So it isn't the SkyWest house livery. SkyWest does not operate flights from CLT. They're mainly West Coast and Midwest, so Chicago, DFW, Phoenix, LA. That's where SkyWest operates their regional flights for American Eagle or from, I should say. From Charlotte, it's going to be, Piedmont, PSA, and Republic. So I don't even know if Republic is still here, but PSA and Piedmont are the two regional subsidiaries that operate American Eagle. So SkyWest is not here. That's why it's unrealistic, but it is a CRJ-700, and it is technically an American Airlines plane. Well, not really, I shouldn't say that, but, CRJ-700, it does fly for American. I have seen this this livery operate for American, so I just threw it in here. So apologies for that unrealisticness. Should ideally have like a million of these things, but here's a PSA operated CRJ900. This aircraft came in from Rapid City, South Dakota. That's like almost a 3-hour flight, 2 hours 50 minutes, 3-hour flight from Rapid City to Charlotte on a CRJ900. So yeah, 5255 from Rapid City, be operating flight 5290 out to Greensboro, North Carolina. And here's a standard delivery CRJ700 operated by PSA, and that came in from Westchester County, White Plains, New York, flight 5780, making service out to Huntsville, Alabama as flight 5547. Okay, surprise, surprise, my camera ran out of battery because I take way too long to film these updates. But either way, my phone has come to the rescue, and we are going to finish this update off with two aircraft that I think are pretty unique to Concourse E because, well, I haven't been to Charlotte in over 2 years now, but even when I was there, Concourse E was all, you know, CRJs and ERJ 145s. I didn't see any of these bigger E-jets, but it looks like they've recently started bringing these bigger E-jets into Concourse E now, especially following the recent expansion of Concourse E and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool to see. If anybody knows when they started doing that, like when they started flying these E175s into Concourse E, let me know, because I don't think they did this when I was last here in 2021. So yeah, really, really cool to see. And they are also operated by Envoy. They're not operated by Republic Airways, from what I can tell. At least the ones that I saw on the arrivals board when I was looking up flights for this video, they're all operated by Envoy. It's a handful of flights, albeit, but you know, they're still all, you know, Envoy Air operated, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna start off here with this one, coming into whatever gate this is. This is flight 3865 from Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, not the Savannah Hilton Head Airport, not the main airport in Savannah, Georgia. This is from the smaller HHH Hilton Head Island Airport. I believe that is South Carolina. Coming in from there is flight 3865 and making service out to XNA, Bentonville, Fayetteville, Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport. Later on is flight 3800. And then the one next to it, this one came in from Springfield, Branson, Missouri. No, yeah, I think that's what the airport's called, Springfield Branson International or whatever Airport, SGF as flight 3304, and making service later out to Hilton Head Island as well, South Carolina, as flight 3798. So from what I could tell, these Embraer 175s that they're flying into Charlotte, they're only doing like these couple flights, you know, Hilton Head Island, XNA, Springfield, and there's probably one more, I can't remember which one, but I couldn't see any others unless I was looking on the wrong day or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't seem like they're doing many 175 flights out of CLT aside from those three routes that I just mentioned. But really, really cool that they're actually bringing these things into Concourse E, because I thought previously they would fly the Embraer 170s and 175s out of Concourse A or B, I think it was, but now they're bringing them into E, which is really cool. Again, gives me an excuse to put more planes in the update, which is pretty, we need that for especially Charlotte, at least my replica of Charlotte, Concourse E and stuff like that. But that brings an end to this update. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, and you know, so YouTube can share this content to more people. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you have any requests for model airports to do, let me know. I would love to try some more. Obviously, as you can see, this is a big kind of layout. This is my Karachi airport, by the way, just flipped over. So I am thinking of some more one-off updates to do. I'm thinking of Philadelphia, Concourse A, the internet, or is it Terminal A or Concourse? Whatever it is. Philadelphia, small update for Philadelphia. Possibly some international ones like Frankfurt or Istanbul or something like that, because I have a lot of planes that could do those dioramas. So let me know. This was the first of those. And that's basically it. Expect an O'Hare Terminal 5 update coming out later this month. And I don't have anything else to say. I'll do my best to get more videos. I have one more from my Guatemala trip, the Aeromexico, Mexico City, Chicago trip report. That should be coming out soon as well. A lot of stuff to do for this channel. So let me know if you want to see anything specific or anything of that nature, please let me know. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks again, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.